Okay, back out on the nature preserve, another 3-day weekend. So I got out of Amarillo and came out to Mountain Air, and I'm in the process of transferring the water to the right tote up here. So as I walk around, show you what I'm doing here. You can follow the nice long hose. Got a little bit of spill. I don't have the best connection here on the pump, but at least I'm able to pump the water from this little relief valve here up to that tote and try to drain out the good water from the water heater here. I don't want to lose it. It takes quite a while and expense, whatever, if you want to think of it that way, to collect this out of the reverse osmosis system into our reserve tank here. So since that's tied into our hot water heater, I'd rather hold on to that water since it's already gone through the RO system and eventually pump it back up here. Okay, we now got this big behemoth of a heater disconnected from everything, including the little circulation pump that's down here. Kind of have it hanging in there to drip as well as hold it up. It's a pretty heavy little pump. Anyway, it was kind of difficult getting this disconnected. Luckily, I have one of these big old pipe wrenches. That's what it took to loosen it. Gas is all safely disconnected, shut off. I'll put a little cap on it shortly. I'm starting to move the sucker out of here. I got it disconnected too from the venting up top. This is kind of the piece I had to fight with a bit to get it out of there. Didn't want to come out. But anyway, I got it to the edge here. Now the next thing is just get a couple ramps here and kind of gently slide it down and then put it in another corner of the garage. Then we can start looking at the new Rheem here, trying to get it in. And of course, like usual, as you're trying to slide this down the ramp, you can see how I'm kind of set up here. A couple little, I think 3 feet, and there's just barely enough room to get these 2 planks to slide it down the ramp here into the garage. Just enough room between the feet to do this, I think. But as I'm starting to slide it down, what do I find? Of course, these guys are just a little too high here to slide out. So I'm disconnecting these big monster 1-inch inlets here. Maybe they're 1 1/4 inch, I'm not sure. But anyway, fun of plumbing. And of course, as I get these off, you can see all the residue from the old plumber's putty from 15, 16 years ago when they put these in. You see it down here on the threads and falling off. Doing a real good job making sure we have no leaks up here. Okay, so here we are, the old one out, the new one. I'll unbox it shortly and I'll just take it right up the little ramps here carefully, put it in place where the old one was. I have to make some adjustments to the little hot and cold water runs here. The little chimney stack vent, whatever, is going to have to come out. And of course the lower line where the water heater was there, I plugged it off, and that's taken care of now. Okay, here we are. The new unit is here. You can see I got the 2 female pieces up there that should connect, but I need a gender changer basically, and that's what I have here. I haven't finished soldering it. One side's soldered, but the other's not, but I will solder them shortly. I need to run to town. And basically for the circulation pump piece here, I'm real close. I almost have all the parts. Thought I had them all. Anyway, I got the male copper piece here that goes in. It's only hand tightened at the moment. I'm going to pop it back out when I solder it And I didn't have any flux, but I stopped at the hardware store in town, picked some up. So we'll do some soldering here in a little bit. But here's kind of like what I'm thinking of doing. So I have some scrap copper line here. I'm going to go ahead and like bring it up to about here with the elbow, and then bring the piece there. And I need the little female down there. And the female should look just like this, except for a 1/2 inch instead of a 1/2 inch line. I need one for a 3/4 inch. Then should be able to get it soldered, and we'll finish up some copper work here. Been a while since I've done some copper soldering, but it was pretty straightforward last time I did it. Okay, the new one's in. It's all hooked up. The electrical too. Got a little small problem actually. I just temporarily, I had a bit of a leak, and I tried to use a little plumber's putty just to see if it would slow down. It slowed down quite a bit, and it's still slowing down. So I'm going to leave it there overnight. See if we get see if it continues to slow or not. And if not, I'll just tear it back open and rebuild that section there. But hoping I don't have to. And then the other thing I'll point out is got something going on with the electrical. That's why I got this kind of torn open here. I'll probably get my voltmeter out next. That's the next thing to test is where are we not getting power? Is it in the box itself? I mean, the load line's all hooked up right. I had them backwards previously, but now I corrected it, and I still don't have power coming in. The unit's supposed to have, when it receives power, it's supposed to have a little blinking green or red light or something. So it's obviously not got power. So after a lot of messing around with this disconnect, everything I got set up right. I adjusted the way the screws sat, and the little nuts slide into this little slip plate that goes underneath the disconnect bar itself. Tried checking the voltage. Things were kind of wacko, basically. And eventually I gave up and just said, okay, let's bypass this thing, because everything pointed to being a problem with the disconnect. So once I got the wire nuts around and bypassed the disconnect, and then hooked everything up back here, then finally got this working. We have power. I'm trying to set up the Wi-Fi, and it's set to 130. Once I get the Wi-Fi, I'll be able to remote control this and respond to alarms and all that. Hopefully no false alarms, but even though it says service needed, it's kind of a false alarm really. It's just sensing some moisture on the ground, which of course I did have a little leak from here that originally, also the way the floor slanted a little bit, leaked down there. So that's what the sensor's picking up. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have this alarm, and I'm trying to get the mobile app working so that it'll provide me more information, I think, on exactly what that service needed is. But from what I'm reading in the manual, it seems to mostly mean water detection, leak detection, whatever. But it can still run once you press the alarm button or override it from the mobile app for another 24 hours before you got to reset it. And it continues in that loop from what I understand. I don't think there's any way to kill this alarm, silent or otherwise, until this dries out. So let's hope for some more warm days. Hi guys. Okay, I'm just finishing up part of all the projects I wanted to get done this 3-day weekend. Anyway, it's Easter Sunday. I'm just packing up, getting ready to get out of here, just doing a couple little last things. Thought I'd just show here. Had a little leak going on here, right down here, and so I had to disassemble this and get some plumber's putty in the threads real good, and of course the plumber's tape on the outside thread, and then wrench it on really tight, really good, and then I had to up here cut it to unscrew it, and then I had to solder and fight with the cut that I put in the 3/4 inch hot water trunk line that was down there before I get a coupling to fit. The little cutting tool I use, one of those little rotating guys, seemed to like expand the cut area, so I had to take a file quite a bit before I can get the coupling to fit around it. And then of course I got a good solder on it. No more leaks, so I'm a happy camper in that regard. I'll point out too, over back here you'll see the pump, a circulating pump. That I managed to really screw up the last time I was here. I think I left it running while I shut the water off, and the thing was just burning hot when I got back here a couple weeks later and making horrible sounds and all that. So luckily I can shut it off. There's a little shut off valve down here, I think, and that was allowing me to recirculate the water the old-fashioned way without a trunk line that comes back here, but it would let things get through the house at a reasonable speed for the hot water. You know, in the back of the house, it takes about 3 minutes now. When I had the circulation line open, it was running for like 12 or 13 minutes and no hot water. So I figured that out, that I needed to shut this off at this point. And so I got hot water flowing through the house now at a reasonable pace. I also have a spare circulation pump. I really wanted to put it on before I left today and test it out, but I just don't have the right interface parts. I mean, I picked up some different ideas to try to connect that thing back, the new one up, but nothing's really clean for an interface to the thing. So I'm going to go back and shop for parts in Amarillo and come back with the right connections, and whether it's, you know, soldering it with your little propane torch, or whether I can do some shark bite pieces or whatever. The local store in Albuquerque here I went to did not have all the pieces I needed, so I tried to jury rig something, and the more I got into it, the more I realized, no, I just don't want to go down this road. It's not good. So hopefully in the next episode I'll show you how I go ahead and let me switch around, how I'll change this burnt out circulation pump here. I'll change the wiring around too. I got a little Wi-Fi receptacle here and a new box, and the Wi-Fi receptacle you can schedule when you want that thing live, which is great because the new circulation pump has a normal plug for going into that, so I can control the circulation pump from anywhere in the world. So if I drive away and realize, oh, I got the water turned off in the house, I can turn the circulation pump off while I'm traveling down the road. So, and that gets rid of the need for this manual scheduling tool. It's got a couple sets of dials here I'll show. This is how they did things in the old days, kind of a 24-hour clock, and try to set up when you want the thing to circulate the water, turn the pump on basically, and when you don't. Anyway, too many little issues with that too. I don't like it, especially when I'm dealing with daylight savings time and all that, because scheduling tool and Google Assist on controlling something like this will take that into account, so I don't have to deal with that. Anyway, here's a close-up shot of the work I was doing earlier. I had the leak from this little female piece going into the male pipe here. So this is the one I puttied up real good, but I couldn't take it off without cutting the pipe right here and put a coupling in its place and resoldering. But both ends here, this piece and this side, just would not go into the coupling, no matter how I tried to force it and twist it and all that, until I did some filing and a lot more finish abrasive sanding of the pipe too. And then I eventually got him to slide in. It was a battle. Anyway, the last thing I got to do, you can see I opened this back up, took the little facing piece off so I can get under here and do a little crawling around, which I don't want to really do, but I got to drill a little hole here, get the number 4 wiring for the new boiler, electric boiler we have, which we'll do that on the next episode. I'll have be meeting up with the local HVAC plumber guy who really knows how to deal with these. You know, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. I understand the concept of bleeding out the air and all that, and maybe even diluting some of the water with other chemicals and stuff to make it act like an antifreeze, whatever. But there's pieces here, especially when it comes to controlling any valves for multiple manifolds we have in the house here. I'm not sure what it does behind here, what's inside of here besides the ignition and all that. There might be some pieces that need to stay and go with the other boiler. Not sure which. Obviously the chimney is going to go. I'm thrilled about that because it just takes up so much space too. But this is some of the wiring back here that goes to all the thermostats in the house. There's 8 thermostats, and somewhere, somehow, I fried something in here or blew a fuse, whatever. Anyway, I'm tired of dealing with this old unit. I want all the massive amounts of propane it takes up. So I'm going to go, happy to see this thing get out of here and go electric. Okay, so I got the hole drilled back there behind the boiler here, and then plenty of length of number 4, 4x3 for hooking up to the new boiler when we get it in there. Not sure. I'm gonna try to figure out where to bring it up and putting it in the conduit and stuff until we get this out of here. And like I say, the leak there is done. I'm going to depressurize the water in the house here anyway, as well as the, of course, circulation pumps off, boilers off, and then the wiring's ready to go. I'll bring the right outlet this time when we get back for the 30 amp for the hot water heater. Right now it's a temporary hookup just so I can get some hot water on this 80 amp that we'll watch carefully when we do have to do it. But I think the next time I'll be able to replace these two with 15 by 30 2 with a 240 in the center. I've seen them in the store. I just got to pick the right one up. Anyway, I got the wires hanging here ready to go. They're kind of out of the way now, but when we get back, we'll hook them up to the 80 amp once the hot water heater lines are kind of out of the way. Then we'll finish putting that in. Okay, here we go. This is the scary part. I got 2 to go across here from side to side to try to stabilize this thing falling back. It's in the corner of the truck and against the back of the bed here, so that, or I guess it's the front of the bed. So hopefully that kind of stabilizes it there. And then I got one, the center one, that kind of loops around, comes back here, and then ties in. So it's kind of hopefully holding it from going that way, I hope too. Kind of pull it back in the corner here. Seems pretty stable now. Anyway, I got a long drive back to Amarillo. We'll see what we can find out about this 80-gallon propane. See if we can find a home for it back in Amarillo.